Okay, so this is basically a video on frequently asked questions. So I'm often asked about what characters I used at different points in my life. So I'm pretty much going to go over the timeline since basically the game came out to the present of the characters I used at different points in time for turret purposes or just a lot in general. So at the beginning, I saw on the internet from, like, for example, GameFAQs.com and there's other parts of the internet that Mewtwo is in a game before Melee even came out. So I was like, oh my god, I love Mewtwo. I think I'm just a little kid playing Pokemon Blue, watching the cartoons, watching DBZ and Frieza and all that. This is that timeline. So I was like, oh, I like all these cool psychic powers. So I'm like, okay, I want to be Mewtwo. I want to use Mewtwo. And of course, when I unlocked him, I used him a lot. The first two characters I actually used when I got the game, I remember playing with my sister on, like, it's Fountain of Dreams and the DK stage of, like, the Rock. I was playing Bowser and Samus, and Samus is, like, really fun. I was surprised how weak Screw Attack was. And then Bowser, and I was like, wow, this character's so slow and bad. That was my first impression of him. But then I pretty much played with all the characters, and funny enough, my first mains, like my best character for, like, the first, like, 2 or 3 years was actually Falco. So, like, I used Falco and Fox. People were saying Fox was better for whatever reason, even as far back as then, but I used Falco more. So I pretty much mained the Spaceys, but I also used characters like Marth and Rory a lot, and I like Dr. Mario a lot. I actually use Dr. Mario a lot, and a bit of Luigi, because I would play with my friends, and we'd do, like, Doc Dittos and Luigi Dittos and stuff. So the characters I used back then a lot. I used Doc, Luigi, Cat and Falcon just to, like, up air people. Like, I figured out, I discovered on my own up throw up air, so I use that, like, all the time against, like, floaties, like Samus and stuff. I used both Spaceys, Falco and Fox. I used Samus a little bit, but I never got, like, super serious. I just, like, down smashed and stuff and spaced. I discovered Sheik, but I wasn't very good at her back then, but I liked the character, and I wanted to invest more in her later. I didn't really use any of the Pokemon characters except Mewtwo. I used Mewtwo a lot. Like, I probably spent hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours minimum, maybe like 1,000 or so, just on that character, just messing around with useless stuff, like playing on Hyrule Temple, just like figuring out, oh, you know, if you forward throw, it does like 20 damage, because each of the forward throw Shadow Balls do like an extra 2 to 3 damage. Like, all this useless stuff, because I would just play alone. I didn't even notice a competitive scene until like 3-4 years later after that point. And I used Marth and Roy. I was a noob, because at one point I thought Roy was even better, because it's like easier, but that's only because I was a scrub level. So I actually used Marth and Roy a bit. The characters I didn't name, I pretty much didn't use at all. Now, in terms of tournaments, my first tournaments where I went to, like, a King of the Couch, I started on Valentine's Day, February 14th, 2005. It's actually one day. It's the same day as Armada, actually, but a different time zone. And my mains then, I pretty much was a Fox main, strictly. I didn't use anyone but Fox, but I also played a little bit of Doc, because I played Zangoose, and he beat my Fox and my Marth by like 1 stock each. By the way, this is 5 stock games back then, not 4 stock games. That's how long ago that was. And then I used Dr. Mario, and I was able to beat him, so I guess Doc was one of my serious characters then, but I was pretty much strictly a Fox main. Like, my Sheik and Marth, I used them here and there, but they didn't really have a use. So pretty much I was strictly a Fox main, sometimes Marth, sometimes Sheik, sometimes Doc, and I messed around with more characters, but I was pretty much strictly a Fox main. And I wasn't like that good, because like my hands were too slow to short hop, so I'd pretty much be full hopping, because I was like good at L canceling it and then jumping away, so that like I couldn't be punished. But this is back in the old days where people would just try to shield grab you, so if you could avoid being shield grabbed, you do good. And I think that, yeah, that's pretty much the history of my mains. Now, that was from the game when the game came out to 2005. If you skip ahead, so toward the end of 05 and 06 and onwards, 2006, MLG came out, early 2006. I'd obviously improved with Fox a lot over the past 12 months. I remember a guy named Killer Or was in something called, it was on TV in like True Life. And then people in my middle school or my high school actually knew about Killer Or because they saw it on TV. And I heard that in a random discussion brought up at one point, and I was like, did you know I destroyed this guy in turn? And they're like, no way, he was on True Life. And I actually like 3 and 4 stocked this guy 3 times. Literally, I played him in tournament. It was at MLG. It was like opener. I think I got like 7th or 8th or something. And I actually beat this guy 3 and 4 stock 3 times in a row. Because I got way better Fox in that time period. Like, back in early 2005, Wes would just wave dash back and down smash. Because this is like my first turret. And I didn't realize, okay, I didn't know how to beat it. I thought it was broken. Just wave dash back. I didn't realize, oh, I could just aim where he's going to be. Because I was a noob. I never fought a human. And then, you know, I learned a lot just going to a few tournaments, playing people. And you just get a whole lot of experience. And you learn a lot of stuff. So throughout the year 2006, this is one of the biggest years of Melee because of MLG. I pretty much was a Fox main up until the end of the year. And then by the end of the year, my Fox controller broke because I practiced with it so much that I actually ruined it. And the dash back became really bad. So just before the MLG, like 2 weeks before the MLG finals, my controller broke, and then I decided I'd switch mains to Marth. Throughout 2007, I pretty much was using strictly Marth for every single set, except sometimes I would use Fox. And I'm not even sure if I used Sheik back then. I don't think I even used Sheik in turn back then. It's pretty much strictly Marth in 07 with the occasional Fox here and there. And so I just liked Marth a lot. I watched Ken and Azen, and I'm like, these are really good things, and I bet you can do this better. And I'd watch Ken vs Bomb Soldier, and I'd write down like chain grab stuff, like percentages. I'd look at the videos, I'd download them from DC++ because this is before YouTube, and I'd look at the percentages, and then I'd do my own tests alone on my TV upstairs using 2 controllers at the same time, and I'd DI full left, full right, and like no DI, and I'd just write down like, this works at this percent, this doesn't work at this percent. I'd just experiment on my own because using videos and my own tests alone, and then that would give me a good head start, and then from there, I'd start experimenting versus people, and I'd slowly edit the info I learned, slowly learn more, and then become a better player as time went on. So, 2007, I pretty much was a Marth main. First 2 years, I was mostly just Fox. So, Brawl came out in March 2008, I believe, and since this is a topic about my mains, I might as well mention that I used Marth and DDD first, and then I discovered Meta Knight a few months later, and I was like, wow, this character is so fun, I'll just use him a lot. By the time I was converting from Melee to Brawl, I was pretty much just a Marth main that would sometimes use Fox, like for matchups I didn't like maybe certain stages, or if I'd play on Corneria, I'd use Fox, of course, if I'm fighting Puff. I might use Fox, I might use Marth, depending on stage or however I'm feeling. Skip ahead, and now I'm just a pure Meta Knight main, sometimes using DDD, and I pretty much quit Marth because switching between the Marths actually messed me up, which is why I actually don't use Marth or Sheik in Smash 4, even though Sheik's very good in Smash 4 and so is Marth. It actually messes me up to switch between similar characters like Melee Sheik, Smash 4 Sheik, Brawl, and then the 2 Marths. It messes me up to play a similar character and be like, this has this much range, this much lag, so I didn't want to deal with that anymore. So that's why I switched to DD and Meta Knight. Then in like 2009, I was thinking, I actually think Sheik might be the best character. And I posted that online. I think, hey guys, I think Sheik's the best character. And people were like, no, she's not. Prove it. So I actually tried to prove it. I actually 4-stocked Dark Rain and PC Chris back when they were still top players, and Dark Rain was like the best Falcon and stuff back in the day. I was able to do stuff like that with my Sheik, and I was starting to learn her. But the reason I originally picked up Sheik, I did it for Sheik Dittos because I wasn't that good at Marth for Sheik, and I was not that good at Fox for Sheik, so I wanted to learn Sheik for Dittos. I also liked the character, and I was getting good with her. She suited my style pretty good. And one of the most important things, switching between Melee Fox and then playing Brawl was a little difficult because you had to keep your tech skill up. And keep in mind, 2008 to 2013, I was mostly a Fox player. I was mostly a Brawl player. More so Brawl than Melee in that entire 5-year, because Brawl was bigger than Melee. For that entire 5-year time span, Brawl was bigger than Melee. So I was focused more on Brawl. So I wanted a more consistent character. So I decided to main Marth and Sheik instead of Fox for consistency purposes, even though my Fox was still good. So with that in mind, 2009 on, I decided to actually be mostly a Sheik main, and then use Marth and Fox for counter picks for different, like obviously like Marth FD and then Fox for different stuff. So it was pretty much a Sheik main 09, and then skip ahead a few years. As time goes on, I decide I'm going to be a multi-mainer. I'll use this character for this matchup, this character for this matchup, and then eventually I picked up a Peach for Ice Climbers as Ice Climbers got more popular. Now I'm using Peach for Ices, Fox for Puff, Sheik throughout most of our bracket, and then Marth for like Spaceys and a lot of certain other matchups. So I'm pretty much a quad main, but I still play all the other characters. Like I picked up a Pichu again recently just for fun. I'm still good with a lot of characters, but I don't really use them in tournaments anymore because they don't serve a different purpose. And that's pretty much the history of my characters outside of Smash 4. Smash 4, since I'm still on the topic, I used to use Sonic on the 3DS. I used to use Diddy Kong when it came out. The first day I used Diddy, and I played a K-Tar turn. I actually beat the Buzz in a 3-5, and I only lost to J-Tails in the Diddy Dittos. in the finals because I never actually played a Diddy before. So, but I learned Sonic and Diddy really fast. Then when he got nerfed, I didn't know they were even gonna change the game. Throughout 2015, I couldn't find a character that I actually enjoyed using except customs. But then customs a few months later was considered like, oh, after Evo they dropped customs, and then I didn't know what I was gonna do because I didn't find anyone I was like passionate about. I used to use custom Palutena because she was fun. I like the super speed. I like to use the Miis. But then now you skip ahead a year later, we don't even have those as options. So I was like not sure what I was gonna do. I was like maybe I should just play melee. And then of course, you know, Cloud comes out around like a little less than a year ago, and then I liked the character. I thought the character was fun, so I kept using him. So now I'm pretty much maining 4 characters in melee, mostly Sheik and Marth, but I also use Fox for Puff, Peach for Ices, and I can play all the characters in the game for fun. And Smash 4, I decided to spend my time on Cloud, so a lot of big tournaments I'm going to, I'm often having to switch between 5 different characters. So it's a little harder to be consistent. Sometimes I play kind of good sometimes I play pretty bad sometimes. That causes inconsistency issues. But that is pretty much the history of my characters.